so we thought it was about time that we gave you a look at our Troopy. So we got the Troopy about 9 months ago with the aim of setting it up to travel around Australia. We're at an overnight camp stop, so we thought it was a good opportunity to give you a bit of a walk around of the car.
So this gull wing over this side, we open that up here, we've got a shower set up over there. Basically the shower hose connects into here for showering there. We keep our inflation gear in here as well. That's pretty much all that one does. Down here, this little panel's pretty handy. So we've got a 90 litre water tank under the car, so that's just filled up through there. Solar blanket, if we ever need to use it, can plug into there, and then the ARB compressor goes into that little unit. So we got this wheel cover and dirty gear bag from PM Canvas Products. Nathan and Kelly put this together for us, and it's an absolute ripper. All these side pockets are all optional. We just use them for keeping things like tent pegs and tie downs, that sort of thing. There's a mesh bag in here that comes out, so you can get rid of all your rubbish nice and easy. And then one of the extra things that we asked them to do was this bag that slots in here. And that is basically where we keep our fire pit to keep it out of the car.
So moving around to the inside, the fit out was completed by Odyssey Custom Fit Outs in Perth, and we are absolutely stoked with the way it's turned out.
So starting off with this taller cupboard on the side here, all the electrical components sit on the other side of that cupboard. There's a bit of storage on the top here, travel buddy oven. Comes in nice and handy if we want to cook up a bit of food on the go. And then another little cupboard down here, basically where you keep all of your
it's my
clothes,
wardrobe,
toiletries, all that sort of thing. So we've got a 75 litre dual zone Dometic fridge here. We've kept this up in the centre of the car just for weight distribution rather than having another big heavy thing down the back of the car. Few electrics over here, hot water system, we can pretty much set that to whatever temperature we want, travel buddy switches, other bits and pieces for charging, batteries, etc. Then we've got a decent sized workbench over here, comes in handy for any food prep, that type of thing. And this is pretty much where our kitchen stuff lives, in this top drawer here. Got another like a little tabletop on here that we can pop out. Kind of sits up there. All the usual bits and pieces inside this drawer, and then another drawer. This one's a fair bit bigger down here. This one has pots and pans and more clothes, that type of thing. In there. And then moving along to this cupboard along here, this is basically our pantry, so all of our dry foods, cereals, pasta, rice, cans, all that type of thing lives in there. And then there's a couple more cupboards down the bottom here, which is largely for cleaning, more kitchen stuff and laundry.
Don't forget the jet boil. Jet boil goes in there too.
Jet boil lives in there. and another one, hot water systems tucked up the back, and then there's other well, anything you want basically gets chucked in there.
So one of the things that you can never have enough of in these setups is storage, and we absolutely love these storage pouches from Camp Cover. They velcro onto the underside of the roof and we store a whole load of different things in them. They are absolutely brilliant. We also have these pouches from Outback Gear Solutions on our back doors, which again store a whole load of things, cables, chargers, torches, you name it, we store it in there.
So we've got a couple of drawers out the back here. These were designed with Toby from Odyssey specifically to fit some of our larger items. So our gas stove stands up in here. Got a few other bags and bits and pieces from Grab Me Gear, heaps of storage in those guys. And our deck chairs also slot in on the top there. Teflon runners, beautiful. And there's another one on here. So this one, we have another table, so big table, a few tent poles and other long bits and pieces go in there. Then over on this side we've got a trunk. I'll take this off. So this trunk is basically more storage in here. Tools, fishing gear, we have a toilet in here, spare parts, all sorts of stuff can go in there. And then this top part separates, comes across and slots into there, so that when we have our cushions made for the couch and the backrest, that'll come down, sit on top of there, and we'll have a bed downstairs if we ever need to stealth camp or whatever.
So for anyone that hasn't seen an Alucab roof conversion, the bed during the day pushes up to the roof so we can walk around inside the cabin, and then at night time it's as simple as pulling the bed down and climbing up. So I'm up in the bed now, and you can't really get a good gauge on how big it is, but this part of the bed is actually 1.85 meters long, and there's a second section of the bed which is like a trapdoor which pulls down, which we put our pillows on and sleep with it down, and that adds about another half a meter to the size of the bed. So there is stacks of room up here. One of the features that we absolutely love is the Sirocco fan that we've installed on the bottom of the trapdoor. This was an absolute godsend recently when we were up north and it was so hot and humid. It can be adjusted, so we can have it downstairs or upstairs, and it can change directions and it can be angled to any way you want, which is really brilliant at night time. At the back of the car we had a little bit of space where nothing was happening, so we bought this holder from Kmart, and it holds all of our gear, coffee cups, and all of those insect repellents and things that you always seem to use when you're at camping. So it's nice and handy, and it's right next to our drop down table, which is where we do our coffee prep, meal prep, etc. We love it.
This is the barbecue box that comes as, or can come as part of the Thorburns rear bar. Holds the Weber baby Q perfectly. Dinner coming along just fine. Probably the last thing we'll take a look at is the Ocean to Outback 270-degree awning. It's made here in WA by Brad at Dingo 4x4 in conjunction with BDM Leather and Canvas. It's so well fabricated, really heavy duty, really strong. In fact, we just had our Dirk Hartog Island trip where we copped the tail end of a cyclone, and this thing stood up to it, absolutely no worries. It's got built-in legs on all of the arms there, which is another thing that's really handy, so you don't have to worry about carrying extra poles. And probably the other thing that we really like about it is the size. It's just bigger than a lot of the 270 awnings that I've seen. It extends right past the back of the car out the other side there, giving us a fair bit of coverage. And the other thing that you can do, we haven't done this yet, but we probably will, side walls all the way round to fully enclose it, can be zipped on. Probably the other thing that I forgot to mention, got these D-rings stitched into the top here where you can put tie downs off of there to allow all water runoff, so you don't get a lot of water pooling on the top. Really good.
We really hope you've enjoyed taking a look at the Troopy. I think we've covered most things, but if you've got any questions, drop them in the comment section and we'll try to answer them for you. We'd really appreciate it if you could give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to follow along on our Troopy adventures. Cheers!